And welcome to the first annual GamePro Awards. With your host, J.D. Ross.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of GamePro. It's the first annual GamePro Award show. Now, today, we're handing out awards for game cards chosen as the very best of 1991. And the judges who determined which games would receive these mucho prestigious trophies were the members of Team GamePro. Now, this is a group made up of readers of GamePro magazine, which, as you know, is the #1 source for home and arcade video game information. So, without further delay, let's kick it with a look at who snatched the gold in the Best 8-Bit Game of the Year category. Now, with the 16-bit games coming on strong in 1991, you wouldn't have thought it would be a happening year for the 8-bit game cards as well. So I gotta tell you, when the time came to choose the best, we were surprised by just how many games deserved consideration. But when the dust had cleared, there was only one game that stood head and shoulders above the rest. Ever since this game arrived on the scene last May, gamers everywhere have been blown away by a brand new bunch of green amphibious creatures who are heroes, but not in the half shell. They're the Battletoads for the NES. With graphics unlike anything that had been seen before on the Nintendo Entertainment System, we hear players everywhere saying, "I can't believe this is an 8-bit game card." With phenomenal action sequences combining the very best of games, such as Double Dragon and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, gamers everywhere flocked to the stores to get their copy of this most excellent cart so they could get busy with the adventures of Rash, Pimple, and Zitz, and the quest to defeat the Dark Queen. So the award for the best 8-bit video game of 1991 goes to Battletoads from the folks at Trade West. And stay tuned, because there's a 16-bit Battletoad adventure coming to Super Nintendo very soon. In fact, I just found out that our Game Lab spies managed to smuggle out this tasty preview of the 16-bit version. Check it out. Wow, that was some really cool stuff. Maybe we'll be seeing Battletoads here next year in the 16-bit category. Next up, we'll take a look at the winner of the award for the best graphics achievement of 1991. With graphic quality taking a giant leap forward in 1991, once again, our judges found themselves buried under a pile of game contenders. But when the votes were in, Team GamePro chose Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective for the TurboGrafx 16 CD-ROM as the top graphics achievement of 1991. As 1991 came to a close, the TurboGrafx 16 was still the only video game system in the United States that had an optional compact disc game drive. But it wasn't until NEC released Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective that gamers everywhere had a really good reason to go out and buy this CD edition. Sherlock Holmes demonstrated with unbelievable clarity just what a CD-ROM drive could do when it comes to displaying live video on a game screen unlike anything we've seen before. We all know that the future of home video games very much includes the use of CD-ROM. And when the day comes where we pop all of our games into the compact disc drive rather than a cartridge slot, remember that the first to really show us what graphics could be on a home game screen was Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, our 1991 winner for graphics achievement. Welcome back to the first annual GamePro Awards. Next up, GamePro's handheld game of the year. Now let's face it, it just wouldn't be Christmas without a new Mega Man adventure, would it? And dude and dudettes, we were not disappointed. With the early fall release of Mega Man in his first Game Boy adventure, we not only had the Christmas present we were looking for, we also had the handheld game of the year. The first Game Boy version, featuring the popular Mega Man character, turned out to be one of the most exciting Mega Man adventures of all time. In Doc Wily's Revenge, we met up with some of the good old villains we know and love from earlier Mega Man adventures, along with the all-new and incredibly evil Mega Man Hunter. Of course, the Doc himself made an appearance in this terrific cart for the small screen. With all the fun, excitement, and elements of its big brother NES version, Mega Man was the hands-down winner for the handheld Game of the Year. And to the folks at Capcom who keep turning out these Mega Man adventures, we say, keep 'em coming. And I am accepting this award on behalf of Mega Man, who is in Europe taking a vacation from Doc Wiley. We love you, Mega Man. Excuse me. Yeah. Oh, hey, thanks a lot. All right. If there's one area where the Super Nintendo has really shined, it's got to be the incredibly realistic sound effects and magnificent music that emanate from this video game cart. So, it's no wonder that an SNES game walked off with the honors in the Sound Achievement category in what proved to be the closest awards race in the bunch. We gotta tell you that the Team GamePro judges had a difficult time choosing between ActRaiser, Toe Jam and Earl, and Super Castlevania 4. Each of these games gave us remarkable sound and are worthy of mention. But when the votes were counted, the judges picked Super Castlevania 4 as the best among the best in sound achievements. In the Super NES version of the Belmont's long-running battle against Dracula and the forces of evil, we found ourselves exposed to sound effects unlike anything we had previously experienced in the comfort of our own homes. And the music? Well, if you ask me, they ought to release a CD of this stuff, put it on the radio, because these sounds are a stone-cold hit. Our congratulations go to Konami, the company who bring you Super Castlevania 4 and the winners of the GamePro Sound Achievement Award. Way to go, this joystick is yours. Team GamePro's decision is in for the best sports game of 1991. Not. And I could not agree more with their choice. Definitely not. Now, in a year that saw fantastic steps forward in graphic excellence and overall quality in sports game carts, there was one game which stood way above the rest. Get real. I'm talking about NHL Hockey for the Genesis. If you haven't yet picked up your controller and faced off in this monster sports cart, you have no idea what you're missing. Sure, the graphics are excellent. The sound effects, top-notch. But what this game is all about is realism and action. As your players glide across the ice rink, you can feel it all happening. There's penalties, power plays, and hey, what would a hockey game be without fights? Choose your team from a full complement of NHL hockey clubs created to accurately represent each team's real-life strengths and weaknesses. You can even change lines just like a real hockey team would, depending on the situation you face in the game. Hey, look, I gotta tell you that NHL Hockey is the absolute state-of-the-art in sports game action, and we congratulate our friends at Electronic Arts for hours of exciting game-playing action. Hey, guys, keep them coming. While it seems that everyone enjoys a good shoot-'em-up game, a hot sports cart, and a solid role-playing game, it takes a certain kind of game pro to truly enjoy puzzle strategy games. Rather than just shoot and run, these carts make you think and plan. They add an element of brain power that doesn't always exist in other home or arcade game formats. Some solid examples of puzzling excellence are one of my favorites, Tetris, Dr. Mario, and Columns. While there were a number of puzzlers that our panel of experts took a look at this year, the GamePro teamsters felt that the most exciting and strategy game of 1991 was Faceball 2000 for the Nintendo Game Boy. This highly absorbing, first-person perspective game of dodgeball in elaborate mazes is one of the great mind-benders of all time. It takes thought, planning, and overall strategic ability to make it through this fine excuse to rush out and go get yourself a Game Boy. And with the Nintendo 4-player link, this game becomes a multiplayer blast that deserves to be picked out as the best of the rest. Faceball 2000 is brought to you by the people at Bulletproof Software, and to them we say, congratulations. Oh, and guess what? They're coming out with a new Super Nintendo version due out later this year. What? What? You want to see it now? Well, I guess we could arrange a little preview of the 16-bit version for you, so take a look at this.
a nice day.
Sweet. I think we're definitely going to want to check this one out when it hits the stores. Welcome back to the first annual GamePro Awards show. Action-adventure games and the SNES seemed to go hand in hand in 1991. And it wasn't only the Super Nintendo that was taking advantage of an abundance of hard-hitting action carts. Solid action carts appeared for the Genesis, along with some hot adventure game carts for the NES. What had previously been the province of the arcades had now become commonplace on the home screen as top-notch graphics and sound effects made home play of action-adventure games an entirely new game-playing experience. So, what game rated #1 with our GamePro judges? Check it out. The winner of the Best Action-Adventure Game cart is Super Castlevania 4 for the Super Nintendo. The latest in a long popular series of game carts featuring the Belmont's family struggle to defeat the evil Dracula and his team of killer bosses was the hands-down choice of our Team GamePro judges to receive this award. This cart featured beautiful but spooky graphics, a movie-quality soundtrack, and a bone-blasting 12-level challenge fit for vampire hunters, young, old, and of course, undead. Who? New moves for Simon, such as an 8-direction whip, plus his grapple and swing ability, make Super Castlevania 4 the #1 action-adventure video game of 1991. Again, we congratulate Konami for its achievement in Super Castlevania 4 and anxiously await the next installment of this long-running series. There's a certain type of gamer out there who lives and breathes for that very special form of video game card, the shoot 'em up. And once again, there were a number of terrific new games in this category that found their way onto our home video machines during 1991. But the one that our judges chose as the very best is yrus, the intense shoot 'em up for the Genesis game system. Released by the game maker Renovation during the spring of 1991, this game had it all. Graphics and sound that were top-notch, combined with a difficulty level to keep even the best of you interested for a very long time. And hey, who didn't go crazy as you sucked energy from enemy ships? Now that was original. To the people at Renovation, we say congratulations. And to those of you still trying to make your way through yrus, good luck, you'll need it. When our winner in the best role-playing game of 1991 hit the stores in November, it quickly changed as the undisputed innovator of the role-playing genre. Electing to place less emphasis on combat and monster bashing and more emphasis on character development, this game took giant strides forward in the evolution of role-playing game carts. I'm talking about Final Fantasy II for the Super Nintendo, the role-playing game of the year. Taking a new approach to video game action, Final Fantasy II focuses on its hero, Cecil, and on the political problems of Baron, which Cecil and his embattled allies must face. The graphics are great, and this game gives new meaning to the phrase, user-friendly. Our Team GamePro members found that Final Fantasy II is not only easy to get into, but will have you wondering just what's going to happen next. This is one role-playing game that you just can't stop playing once you start it up. So congratulations to the people at Squaresoft, who brought us Final Fantasy II, the best role-playing game of 1991. Well, we saved the best for last. 1991 was certainly the year of the 16-bit game system. With the introduction of the Super Nintendo and the continuing strides forward in game cards for the Genesis and the TurboGrafx-16, the competition was nothing less than unbelievable. But Team GamePro made its choice, and the best 16-bit game card is Sonic the Hedgehog, by far the most popular game card available for the Genesis game system. This little hedgehog took the game industry by storm when Sega finally came up with a character to rival the popular plumber who made his name in the Nintendo world. The blue-hued, spine-covered, runaway rodent captured gamers' interest everywhere as he rolled himself up in a ball and blazed across the home screen in a graphics display that continues to please and with action that just doesn't let up. Dr. Robotnik doesn't stand a chance, with Sega files everywhere hooking up with Team GamePro's favorite underhog. Sonic the Hedgehog continues to entertain gamers everywhere as we move on into 1992. And you can be sure that Sega is planning other adventures to star this new game card hero. To Sega, we say congratulations for bringing us the 16-bit game of the year, Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, that about does it for this year. To all the winners, we offer our congratulations and our thanks for hours of game-playing enjoyment. To all the others, we certainly appreciate you too, and hope that all of you will continue to advance the art of gameplay in the months to come. And you keep them coming, and we'll keep playing. And to all our viewers, all of you who play the game cards we honored today, keep those games on the screen and watch for us next week, because we're coming back. Until then, I'm J.D. Roth. Peace, and we out of here.